Hello everyone. Welcome to the week 4 discussion. In this week, we will be having a discussion around how do we design a summative assessment instrument. Like other weeks, even this week has 5 units in it. In the first unit, we will try to understand the meaning of competency-based summative assessments. There are 2 unit outcomes for this unit. After this unit, you will be able to unpack the meaning of competency-based assessments. Competency-based assessments are also called as or also termed as outcome-based assessments. The second unit outcome is you'll be able to explain the principle of competency-based assessment as per the National Board of Accreditation. So the first question that comes in our mind is, what does competency-based assessment actually mean? So we will try to explain it through this particular flow chart. So, and let me walk you through how competency-based assessment is structured from the program level to individual level assessments. So generally we begin, so the graph starts with graduate program. And every graduate program is designed with a clear purpose. What is that purpose? What kind of graduate we would like to produce? And from this purpose, we try to define certain program outcomes. So basically, program outcomes are the statements that describe what the students graduating from a program should be able to do. So, but these are very, very broad because these are defined at the program level. Next, these broad program outcomes are broken down into program specific outcomes. And these are statements that essentially describe what the graduate of a specific program should be able to do. For example, a program of electronics engineering will have a very different set of program specific outcomes as compared to, say, a program on computer science engineering. Now, to operationalize these program specific outcomes, we move to the course level. So, every program has a set of courses. Okay. We have represented these multiple courses as course 1, course 2, up to course N. They can be any number of courses for a program. And every course is mapped explicitly to a certain set of program outcomes and program specific outcomes. Within each course, we try to define course outcomes. Okay. And what do course outcomes define? Basically, these are the statements that describe what the students will be able to do at the end of a course. For example, course outcome 1, probably it is focused on applying concepts, while another course outcome may focus on the ability to solve problems or critical thinking. So basically, these course outcomes are written in a manner that they are accessible, they are also observable, and also they are measurable. Now, these set of course outcomes are not assessed randomly. We try to systematically plan that how each of these course outcomes, how each of these course outcomes can be assessed in a more holistic manner. So, what do? We try to plan a combination of a continuous internal evaluation, which we also called as CIE, and then there is also something called as semester end examination, which comes at the end, SEE. Right. So now the CIE components. So in the flow chart, you are seeing that you have CIE 1, you have CIE 2. You can have several CIEs because these are shorter, smaller as compared to semester end examination. Okay, and these happens continuously. and it can be conducted through, say, quizzes, some sort of assignments. Sometimes projects are given. You can also choose to give case studies. In fact, lab work also comes under CIE. Okay, and each CIE is actually assessing a set of course outcomes. Okay, and finally, what happens after you have conducted all these CIEs? We try to conduct a semester end examination, and we also call sometimes it as a summative assessment. So, and the objective is to verify whether the student has achieved the intended course outcomes for a course. Okay. So, this particular structure, when we are trying to understand the connection between the individual assessments, such as that we use at the level of CIE and SEE, to the broader program outcomes, we also call it as this particular structure basically ensures design down process, isn't it? From a very broad outcomes to specific outcomes which are defined at the course level, and then how do we try to design assessments for each of those course outcomes. So basically this kind of a process ensures that there is some kind of an alignment between the assessments and the broader program outcomes. So basically, in essence, competency-based assessment ensures that every evaluation, whether it is happening at the internal level through some CIEs, or say it is happening at an external level through, say, some semester end examination. So each of these assessments serves a clear purpose, and they basically contribute directly to a graduate competency development. So basically, if you are able to clear this kind of a, if you are able to keep this kind of a structure in your mind, the design down process, probably you will be able to ensure that all your assessments are competency based. That is, they are actually assessing what they intend to assess. Basically, these assessments will be more valid in nature. So let us try to see one example. So, say we have a example of a course titled Irrigation Engineering from Civil Engineering program. Okay, so the name of the course is Irrigation Engineering. So, at the program level, we have program outcomes, and then we have program specific outcomes. There is a course, then we try to define course outcomes. Okay, so say at the program level, for this particular example, the program outcome focuses on the ability to design solutions for complex engineering problems with due consideration for safety, societal and environmental aspects. Now, this is a very higher order competency, okay, and it is aligned with NBA graduate attributes. The program specific outcome further emphasizes the ability to analyze and design civil engineering systems such as irrigation structures, water supply and transport systems. Okay. Now again, it is important to notice that this program's specific outcome expects the ability of applying, analyzing and also certain design skills. Now when we move to the course level, and we know that the course is irrigation engineering. So say the course outcome is students will be able to design irrigation canals, a canal structure and canal networks. Now this course outcome explicitly targets a design level competency, which is actually appropriate and very well aligned to the program outcomes and the program specific outcome. However, the issue becomes evident when we examine the assessment methods. Okay, so let us try to see that there are 3 assessment questions and what each of these questions are trying to assess. So the first assessment question asks the student to state any three advantages of canal linings. Okay. And so this kind of an assessment probably assesses recall of theoretical knowledge and not explicitly the ability to design. Um, the second question asks students to explain different methods of canal alignment with sketches. This kind of a question again focuses on descriptive understanding and definitely not on applying design principles to a real or contextual problem. Coming to the third question, it requires students to draw a neat sketch of a canal in cutting. Now, this evaluates drawing and labeling skills, but again, it does not measure decision making, analysis, or any kind of a design competency. So, although the course outcome is framed at a design level, the assessment tasks, any of these assessments, all the three assessment tasks are limited to lower levels of thinking. And primarily, what kind of thinking? Ability to remember, ability to understand. And as a result, the course outcome is not actually assessed. The design competency is assumed but actually not demonstrated. Course outcome attainment data, when we try to generate any CO attainment data from these questions, will definitely be valid. And therefore, program outcome and program specific outcome attainment calculated from this data will also be misleading. So, from an NBA and NAC perspective, this represents a misalignment between the outcomes, be it PO, be it PSO or CO, and the assessment. And such kind of an assessment, if it keep using these kind of assessment, probably we are violating the principle of outcome based education. So assessment need to be aligned to the course outcome. Assessment need to assess the attainment of course outcomes. Now let us try to look into other set of examples for the same course. Okay. Now for the same course, we have three new assignments, three new assessment tasks. Let us see how these assessment tasks are and if they are actually assessing what it intends to assess. For example, the first question is, design a suitable cross drainage work at the crossings of a canal and drainage using the given data. Then there is design a suitable cross drainage work at the crossing of two streams of water. And then the third one is design a canal siphon based on specified design parameters. Now, in each case, students are provided with realistic engineering data and are required to apply the relevant principles, standards, and the design procedures. So, all these assessment tasks basically assesses the stated course outcome, which focuses on design of irrigation canals and canal structures. Okay, and if you see the course outcome, it starts with a verb design, isn't it? And if you see all the assessment tasks, okay, all these assessment tasks are actually pretty aligned to the course outcome. Okay, and they are basically operating at a level of analysis, application, and also creation. Okay, so and in each of these assessment tasks, students are analyzing the site conditions and constraints. They are also selecting appropriate design alternatives. They are performing calculations. They are also justifying their design decisions with respect to safety and functionality. So, this provides direct evidence of competency rather than any kind of assumed or any kind of indirect assumption. So, such kind of assessments, we can say that all these assessments are valid, okay, and all valid assessments can actually be treated as competency based assessment because they are actually assessing what they intend to assess. Hmm? And from an NBA and NAC standpoint, uh, these assessments are strong example because the assessments are authentic, they are practice oriented. Um, the competency stated in the outcome is explicitly demonstrated. Also, the results can be meaningfully used for PO or PSO attainment and also for quality improvement. So, in summary, what we can say that this is a good example of competency based assessment because students are evaluated on their ability to perform the competency and basically not merely recalling or describing as it was happening in earlier set of example. Hmm? So, the assessment task itself, right, it becomes some kind of a evidence of learning and which we can say is a central philosophy of competency based assessment or outcome based assessment. I hope these examples helped you understand that what will qualify as competency based assessment. Okay, let us see one more example. Hmm? Now, in this example, this is an example from a course on computer science engineering, and this is from software engineering course. Now, let us see and let us try to. There's a case study, okay, and students are required to review this case study, and then they are required to provide certain suggestions, okay. Basically, review the case study and then try to modify. Hmm? Uh, let us try to read. This is a very interesting case study and a very relevant one. And then we will try to see that how these kind of examples can actually assess the desired course outcome and in turn assess the desired program specific outcomes and the program outcomes. Hmm? Now, what is happening in this case study? There is a person, I hope most of you must have watched this interesting movie, Three Idiots. So, this particular case study is derived from that movie. So, there is a character, Funshuk Wangdu. His name is also Rancho. So, he has joined an R&D as an R&D head. Uh, an aerospace startup company dealing in R&D on light unmanned vehicles. Hmm? So basically automatic cars, potentially to be used for defense and disaster mitigation purposes. Along with him has joined Mr. Chatur, his arch rival. Mr. Chatur comes with an equivalent experience in a large company providing bespoke IT solutions to large enterprises for their ERP requirements. Has joined in the same team but on the business side. Okay, so Rancho is in the has joined as an R&D head while Mr. Chatur has joined in the business side. So Chatur is a vehement advocate of agile methodology. He talks about short sprints, daily stand-up meetings, frugal documentation, user stories, vehicles of productivity. He claims that the test cases should act as the primary specification documentation in accordance with the test-driven development methodology. However, Funshuk is skeptical, but he is not an expert in software engineering. You are, the students are. Funshuk has approached you to help articulate an argument against blind copying of agile approach as used in an enterprise business domain to a safety critical domain. So, can you help Funshuk develop a detailed analysis of the agile methodology? Okay, and point out its deficiencies when applied to safety critical software development and R&D, provide specific suggestions to modify the process to suit software engineering in aerospace domain, right? And these are now these this particular case study is very appearing very relevant, right? Because these are certain situations, these are certain scenarios which probably our students might be facing when they start working. Okay, so how about preparing them? How about assessing them with similar kind of case studies and scenario? Okay, now let us try to see that what are some of the course outcome and program outcomes which this particular kind of case study based question can assess. So, the course outcome is students will be able to critically assess agile software development practices in comparison with the plant driven and hybrid models for safety critical R&D environments. Hmm? And such course outcome is actually aligned to several program outcomes. So PO1 on engineering knowledge, PO2 on problem analysis, PO3 on development of solution, PO6 the engineer and the society, PO8 which is related to ethics, and PO10 which is related to communication. So you can imagine that such kind of a question, which is actually a competency based assessment, uh, acts as a powerful tool to assess the course outcome and in turn assess several a very important set of program outcomes. So to summarize, uh, what are some of the key practices in competency based assessments? So if you want to ensure that all our assessments are competency based, okay, what are some of the key principles and practices which are actually recommended by OBE? So first, the teaching learning activities should be mapped to the course outcomes. Okay, so whatever we are doing in our classes, they all should help students attain the course outcomes. So it can be through lectures, some tutorial sessions, lab activities. So all those activities should be intentionally designed to help students achieve the desired course outcome. Okay, and specifically in OBE, we say that teaching learning activities uh, should not be content driven. They should be actually outcome driven, isn't it? Now, coming to the second practice, assessments are designed to measure the course outcomes. So, any kind of assessment, be it a CIE or be it a SEE, should be mapped to the specific course outcome. Okay, and this kind of an arrangement will actually help us see how far our students have achieved and attained the desired program outcomes. Okay, so if you are very clear about the design down process, probably if you are able to assess the attainment of course outcomes, in turn, we are actually assessing the attainment of program outcomes. Coming to the third point, competency development should be assessed continuously and not only at the end. So, we have actually discussed extensively about formative assessment. What is the theory of formative assessment? What is the strategy of formative assessment? So, these kind of assessments should happen in a very, very continuous manner. And thereby actually supporting the continuous quality improvement cycle as mandated by NBA and NAC. Finally, the fourth important practice is that competencies should be validated using multiple assessment methods. Okay, this is just to ensure validity, reliability, and fairness, because if you are using multiple assessments, probably we are able to assess the attainment of a course outcome in a more comprehensive manner. Okay, probably we are more fair to our students. Probably our assessments are more reliable. So together, if we see all these four practices, basically they ensure that assessment in a OBE framework happens in a systematic manner, they are transparent, and they are actually focused on the real competencies. Okay, and this kind of practices are actually fully aligned with NBA and NAC accreditation framework. Okay, now probably at a practice level, this sounds very doable. Okay, but do we have any kind of a framework that will help us ensure that these practices are happening in a very systematic manner? So, what is that framework? So, now, the idea, if you see all the four practices, basically we are trying to see if we are able to align three important aspects of a course: the course outcomes, the teaching learning activities, and the assessment, right? How do we align these three? And how can we then conduct multiple methods of assessment? How can we do our assessments in a more continuous manner? But how do we align it? Do we have a framework? Hmm? So, first of all, probably we need a framework that will help in defining the course outcome very clearly. Okay. So, in terms of what kind of knowledge or what level of thinking is expected from the student. So, that is one very crucial aspect to ensure that those practices of competency based assessments are happening. So, starting point is to have well defined course outcomes. Okay. The second is probably when we have these course outcomes, okay, are they actually helping me direct the pedagogical practices, the teaching learning activities, and the assessments? Hmm? Also, it should ensure that the teaching learning activities prepare students for the intended course outcomes, and all the assessment should assess higher order course outcomes, and they are not only restricted to recall based exams. We have actually seen a few examples today from the course on irrigation engineering where the assessments were mostly focused on recall. Okay, but how is it, how all of it is possible, be it defining course outcome, be it aligning the teaching learning activities and assessment to the course outcome, and ensuring that our assessments are not assessing only the lower order thinking skills of recall. Probably we need a framework. Okay, we have such framework, and that framework is named as revised Bloom's taxonomy. So, revised Bloom's taxonomy is such a framework that actually helps us to map all these three important aspects of a course. So, in our next two units, we will try to have a very detailed discussion on revised Bloom's taxonomy.